Idi Amin Dada was one of Africa's most controversial and infamous political figures, known for his erratic behavior, brutal rule, and widespread human rights abuses during his time as the president of Uganda. Born around 1925 in the West Nile region of Uganda, Amin's rise to power and subsequent dictatorship marked a dark and tumultuous period in Uganda's history. His leadership, characterized by violence, oppression, and erratic decision-making, led to the suffering and deaths of countless Ugandans and left a lasting legacy of fear and instability in the country. Early life and military career. Idi Amin was born in Kiboko, a remote region in northwest Uganda, to a Kakwa father and Lugbara mother. His exact date of birth remains unclear, with different sources suggesting various years ranging from the late 1920s to the early 1930s. Growing up in a small village, Amin received minimal formal education and spent much of his youth herding cattle, which instilled in him physical strength and a sense of self-reliance. At the age of 18, Amin joined the King's African Rifles, KR, a regiment of the British Colonial Army, in 1946. His service in the military provided him with training, discipline, and opportunities for advancement. He quickly rose through the ranks, displaying remarkable courage and physical prowess. Amin's involvement in the suppression of the Mau Mau rebellion in Kenya during the 1950s earned him praise and recognition for his loyalty to the British authorities. Rise to power. Following Uganda's independence from British rule in 1962, Amin continued his military career under the newly established Ugandan government. He gained further prominence within the army, serving as commander of the Ugandan Army and Chief of Staff under President Milton Obote's administration. Amin's ascent to power began in January 1971 when he orchestrated a military coup while President Obote was abroad attending a Commonwealth summit. Seizing the opportunity, Amin swiftly took control of the government, proclaiming himself the new president of Uganda. The coup was met with initial support from segments of the Ugandan population who were disillusioned with Obote's regime, hoping for positive change under Amin's leadership. Dictatorship and reign of terror. Amin's early days in power were marked by promises of reform and populist rhetoric. However, his regime soon descended into a period of unparalleled brutality, repression, and chaos. Under Amin's rule, Uganda experienced widespread human rights abuses, political instability, and economic decline. One of the most horrific episodes of Amin's regime was the persecution and mass murder of various ethnic and political groups. He targeted perceived enemies, including political opponents, intellectuals, ethnic minorities such as the Akoli, Langi, and Baganda people, as well as religious leaders and anyone suspected of disloyalty. Thousands of Ugandans were systematically tortured, executed, or disappeared during Amin's rule. Amin's policies also included the expulsion of Uganda's Asian minority, giving them a 90-day ultimatum to leave the country. This decision resulted in the forced exodus of approximately 80,000 Asians, causing a significant economic disruption and loss of expertise in various sectors. International relations and isolation. Idi Amin's erratic behavior and egregious human rights abuses attracted international condemnation and isolated Uganda on the global stage. His unpredictable foreign policies, such as supporting Palestinian militants and declaring himself the conqueror of the British Empire after the Entebbe hostage crisis in 1976, strained relations with several countries. The Entebbe hostage crisis involved the hijacking of an Air France plane by Palestinian and German terrorists. Amin allowed the hijackers to land the plane in Entebbe, Uganda, and subsequently supported their demands. However, a daring Israeli military operation successfully rescued most of the hostages, leading to embarrassment for Amin and further international backlash. Downfall and exile. Amin's rule became increasingly erratic and despotic as he surrounded himself with loyal but often incompetent advisors. Economic mismanagement and corruption further crippled Uganda's economy, leading to widespread poverty and famine. In 1978, Amin's ambitions led to a disastrous conflict known as the Uganda-Tanzania War. He invaded Tanzania, seeking to annex territory and divert attention from domestic problems. However, Tanzanian forces, supported by Ugandan exiles, launched a counteroffensive and swiftly defeated Amin's army. This defeat marked the beginning of Amin's downfall. Amin fled Uganda in April 1979 as Tanzanian forces, alongside Ugandan exiles and rebel groups, advanced towards the capital, Kampala. His regime collapsed, and Amin sought refuge in various countries, including Libya and Saudi Arabia. He lived in exile for the remainder of his life, attempting to maintain a low profile and avoiding accountability for his atrocities. Legacy and impact. Idi Amin's legacy remains one of tyranny, brutality, and instability. His regime left deep scars on Uganda, resulting in the loss of countless lives, the displacement of communities, and the destruction of institutions. The memory of his atrocities continues to haunt the collective consciousness of Ugandans and serves as a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and authoritarian rule. Despite his ousting from power, Amin's regime's impact on Uganda's socio-political landscape persisted long after his exile. The country struggled to recover from the trauma inflicted during his rule, facing challenges of reconciliation, justice, and rebuilding a fractured society. In the years following Amin's departure, Uganda underwent various political transitions, attempting to heal and rebuild. The subsequent governments grappled with the legacy of Amin's dictatorship while striving to address the country's socio-economic challenges and foster national unity. Idi Amin died in August 2003 in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, reportedly from multiple organ failure. His death marked the end of a tumultuous chapter in Uganda's history, but the impact of his brutal rule continues to be felt by the nation and serves as a cautionary tale against unchecked authoritarianism. Idi Amin's biography is a testament to the destructive consequences of unchecked power and tyranny. His rise from humble beginnings to becoming one of Africa's most notorious dictators highlights the complexities of leadership, the dangers of personality cults, and the devastating impact of authoritarian rule on a nation's people and institutions. Amin's reign was characterized by violence, oppression, and a disregard for human rights. His policies and actions led to the suffering and deaths of countless Ugandans, leaving a legacy of fear, trauma, and instability. The story of Idi Amin serves as a stark reminder of the importance of upholding democratic values, respecting human rights, and preventing the concentration of power in the hands of tyrants who exploit it for their own ends. While Uganda has made strides in the years following Amin's rule, his legacy continues to cast a long shadow over the country's history and serves as a cautionary tale for future generations about the devastating consequences of authoritarian leadership. Efforts towards justice, reconciliation, and national healing remain ongoing as Uganda strives to overcome the scars left by Idi Amin's brutal regime.